Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, the Behren Morton difference as we expect him back to ballin' in Manhattan, Kansas.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again, getting into the week and spending some time on today's episode, looking ahead to K-State. The kickoff gods somewhat shining down upon us once again, as sunlight will still be there when we get things started in Manhattan. We'll get to that and also what's anticipated number-wise as the Red Raiders open up the week as a road favorite again. Also want to get to, of course, what will be the biggest storyline of the week, and that is the anticipated return of one Behren Morton. And, Chris, a couple of things on that front I want to talk about. How things tighten up a little bit, obviously, with that room with the injury to Will Hammond and just the state ongoing of one Behren Morton. So I want to discuss how maybe Mac Leftwich and company will be kind of walking that QB high wire, if you will, as you roll through this game. But also to kick off the convo, just really interested in maybe how you perceive the singular kind of difference for the offense that Behren Morton does make when he's back on the field. Because to me, it's almost sort of more of an intangible thing, because I don't say he's got to get back out there and throw for 450 again and he's got to light it up. I don't really even feel that way about what he brings to or really needs to bring to the table, although it's fine with me if he does. But how would you describe really the singular difference that he makes for that offense when he's on the field, and this on the cusp or following 2 weeks where it's really been a tough sledding kind of day for the offense?
I think you're dead on when you talk about the intangible aspect here. I just think that there's his experience, his confidence, his arm, and right now there's no plan B. I mean, this is like you're talking about like how you would manage it and all that. Really, I mean, it's a whatever it takes. And I'm not saying that all is entirely lost if you don't get a result this weekend, but the margins are going to be really, really slim. And like the next week could potentially matter a lot less without this one. And so we've just kind of pointed to this 2-week stretch here after the loss to Arizona State, and that's just the way it was going to go. You had a mulligan, and you used it in Tempe, and so here we are. I think Behren is probably chomping at the bit for the opportunity. I think that he will have to. You run the risk of him trying to do too much because what you don't need him to be. I think you want to play mistake free and play it, and then maybe this is the game where there's going to be some of these throws on third down or in the fourth quarter or whatever that like here's his moment and here's where we need you, and he will get it done for you. I mean, Kansas State, this is what they do, and I think they've lost 4 games, and so everybody was frustrated with them, and they've kind of maneuvered their 4 losses are by combined 14 total points. So they have lost their close games, and you may find yourself in another one. But and I don't want to gloss over this because like your special teams aspect, it always seems to. It was large in part a positive on Saturday because of the kick return and the block kick, but missing an extra point and a missed field goal, I don't want to gloss over that like that's not nothing because, and I only say that because when you go to Manhattan, there's been times where you've taken a Lou Groza award watch list winner or a guy that's been on the award list, and he just can't make the it's just weird dynamic up there is what I'm saying. So if you find yourself in a close game, it all matters. But I just think that I think Behren, this is kind of what he is here for. Here it is. Large in part, most of your offense should be healthy, you hope. Maybe there's an adjustment on the offensive line. If J-Dose can't play, you certainly think you will have Carter back. Your 2 outside guys are back. Your 2 running backs should be good. It's just time to go eat. And again, you don't have to go score, win this game running away. You don't have to go put up 60 points. You just have to go win. And it may be a grind at times. It may be, but because how Kansas State is living right now, and this is what the very experienced and elusive Jalen Daniels couldn't do. I mean, Kansas turned the ball over 4 times at home against the old Wildcats. Well, guess what? That equaled 21 Kansas State points. You cannot go do that. So, if anything, Behren's going to have to make some plays for you. But if anything, getting you into the right play, taking care of it, living to fight another series, throwing it in the stands, all that kind of stuff, it will really be paramount. And I'm not trying to be cliche-ish, but this is just where you're at right now. You don't have to go play perfect. Behren doesn't have to go play perfect. You just have to be pretty crisp, pretty sound. And at some point, the game is going to ask you to make a play. Like, we need you. We need your skill set right now, and you're going to have to produce.
Iowa State, I'm having flashbacks. I mean, that kind of ball game, those kinds of moments that the Red Raiders did live up to. Arizona State, that type of ball game.
Yep.
I think you could be in something very similar once again, where we're going to be happy when it's only 3s instead of 6s for the other guy.
Yes.
And it's going to be tough for you to also get 6s instead of 3s whenever it's your turn. So I anticipate all of that, Chris, and the cleanliness is going to be next to godliness this week, because it's amazing to see what K-State's been doing in Big 12 play. They've taken it away 15 times, I think, in the last 5 weeks against only 4 giveaways for their offense. And when you're trying to cover up a thin margin, maybe talent-wise, well, that's a great way to do it. Just take it away from the other guy and never give it to them hardly. So it's the same old, but always confounding to try to figure out for some reason, as 8 straight are going the wrong way for the Red Raiders in this series. Only twice all time have you ever taken it in Manhattan, and it's been almost 20 years since the last time you were doing that. But I don't think, Chris, really, when it comes to K-State, the record, as you were talking about, and what they got in the loss column, is indicative of the team that they are, whether this year or in some other years.
Well, they were picked by way more people than you were to win the Big 12 Conference. This was the betting favorite. This was everybody's pick. It was the media's favorite. I mean, don't forget, and they've just been, it's been a bit of a rocky road, but it's been just right there. And I know we've seen the movie before. Don't worry about it. They'll get it figured out at the tail end of the season. Well, guess what? They may be getting it figured out at the tail end of the season. And sometimes it's about when you play people, and it just so happens you're going to play Kansas State when they have absolutely figured it out, it appears.
I hate these sequels. Come up with something new. How about they get as the season goes along? That'd be nice. When you're talking about Behren and intangibles and things like that, that is not to suggest that he is a game manager quarterback. I view him beyond that. But given the makeup of this team, I think there are plenty of us as fans that are feeling like it's not all hinging on his shoulders necessarily, but we've got to get some better results and more consistent results offensively than what we've had over the last couple of weeks. So can he make enough of a difference just to do that? And I'm buying into that idea.
But Cowan, too, I'm just going to say this. We'll make a lot about Behren and all that stuff, and that just comes with playing the position. The guys up front are going to have to play really good. They're going to have to be the best version of themselves, to quote Joey McGuire. Like if you're looking for a time to put it together and play pissed and play well and not beat yourself, this is the one. Okay. And maybe we're going to ask you to do that again the following week too, but you gotta do it this one. And you can't have the drops. Receivers need to play well. If it hits you in the hands, I need your focus. I need those plays to be made. You may not get another chance. This is just kind of, it all leads to this. I mean, that's just where you're at.
And where you wanted to be.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
At this in the season. So glad to have it. So I guess if I'm hearing you correctly, when it comes to managing the QBs next Saturday and probably the following Saturday. There's got to be some consideration of how thin that group is right now. But at the same time, like you've already said, all hands on deck. I mean, there's nothing that you can go to hold him back, right? Or maybe it's got to be in the OC's mind, but I don't know. How do you balance it and kind of walk that high wire?
I'm sure that there's a happy medium of.
First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app. So before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
There's a happy medium of, what are we saving anything for? What there just has to be, because again, this is why you're here. This is what this thing was put together for. There's got to be an aggressive, but you've got to be smart with it too. And so mitigating risk, limiting those chances. But if it's 4th and 2 and you feel like the best play is to, let him on his own read and be the keeper, as a fake, or if he's going to scramble around, I mean, I just don't know if you say, hey dude, just take a loss, or don't get that extra 6 yards, just go down. I mean, I don't know how you handle that, but
pull it back on the competing.
You know what I mean? I mean, because again, it all leads to this. And yeah, I'm sure that you're not going to intentionally, put a lot of things in that would put him in harm's way. But at some point, you got to go play ball, man, and you got to win. And this is the part of the problem with what we talked about maybe back in August. Remember when we had the conversation of like short yardage situations and how most really good teams at a very high level have a dual threat quarterback, a running back that can absolutely break tackles and all that, or a tight end piece that is, and we kind of were wondering aloud, do you have any of the three? Is that present? We've seen a few glimpses. I don't think you really have a dual threat quarterback. I'm not even going to say to you that you have this running back that can break tackles. We've seen this. I don't know if I'm ready to label either one of them as, I can hand it to him, he's getting me my 3. There's not a Taj Brooks component. As good as Cam and Jacoby have been at times, I don't know if I would label them with that yet. And you certainly don't have this unstoppable force at tight end that's this bigger red zone short yardage scenario like a Conyers that is a blocker or a wildcat guy or whatever. And so you have to get a bit creative, and some of that could come into deception or asking your quarterback that's not necessarily a dual threat to run it a bit. I mean, so I don't know, but it's a fair question, and it's one that I'm sure that they're probably talked about quite a bit yesterday as they were drawing up the game plan for this one, and kind of, okay, how can we be really good but not, and maybe it's more wildcat with Cam Dickey, which we saw with Will Hammond in the game. Maybe it's, I don't know, but I'd be willing to bet, like, if you got anything that you had off to the side of the table or the side of the whiteboard that you were kind of like, okay, I mean, now's the time. Now's the time to don't be saving anything.
Well, and I guess possibly with Terrence Carter back in the mix, that's another component in that type of game, or that type of aspect of the offense that wasn't available last time around, that hopefully you could utilize as well. I'll just go ahead and say I think that Behren Morton is going to carry the ball one time at least, and I'm going to go ahead and say right now for all of us, whenever that happens the first time, what are we doing? Because I know we're all going to be thinking. So I just want to go ahead and get that first one out of the way for everybody. In case you were taking a sip or something, you couldn't say it in the moment Saturday. I've already said it for you. Chris, before we get out of here, speaking of Saturday, 2:30 kick time in Manhattan, Kansas. And the Red Raiders, if you hadn't seen, opening up the week, saw on FanDuel at 6.5 is a road favorite. No big deal, just getting comfortable in these road favorite shoes. No problem with that. But Chris, a little bit of a friendly bounce as far as a kick time, I suppose. As we've said before, it's like if you're relying on the kick time for anything, then good luck with anything or everything. But wasn't mad at it. But, man, it's not the biggest stadium in the country, but it's typically a really great environment, I think, in large part produced by the team that's typically on the field. So it's always a difficult road setting.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the tougher places to play in the Big 12. Everybody's so nice to you. It's similar to BYU in that, and then they start, hey, welcome to K-State, welcome to Manhattan, and all the deal, and then they just typically are a team that is very sound. They don't beat themselves. We've seen the movie a million times, and usually the ending sucks. If you're sitting on our side of the deal. But this isn't – I don't know if this is the best Kansas State team you will have seen. I think this is a game that, the afternoon kick, it's much better than the night, I think is kind of what you're saying. It's the lesser of – I mean, it's not as good as 11 a.m., but it's better than 6 or 6:30 or 7 or whatever. And so you'll take what you can get. It'll still be full. It'll still be sold out. They will be fresh off of a very meaningful victory over their in-state rival, which I say that. It just so happens to be those two institutions are located in the state of Kansas because they've won the thing, 16, 17 times in a row? Not really a rival. Not really – I mean, Kansas State's got all the sunflowers. I guess in the overall series, Kansas leads it, but in the last couple of decades, it's just really not a thing.
Oh, is that right? Kansas leads that overall series?
I think so, which
swallow for a K-State fan.
Yeah, which probably stems from way back in the 1800s, early 1900s when all that was going on. I don't know.
Bonus trivia for you today.
Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
But this will be. So we talked a lot about Behren. We'll find out how mobile he is. I would guess early on in this game. My guess is this needs to be a big yards after the catch game. This is where your playmakers need to do their thing. It can't be like the Arizona State component where it's just like that's the best tackling performance I've ever seen. Your guys are just going to have to make some plays, right? But I say all that to lead up to if you've asked too much of your defense to this point, and I feel like we've asked them to do a lot and to be this, but now is when you really, really need it. Now is when, hey man, can you go score for me? Can you really can you not just punch it out, but can you fall on them with the turnovers? Can you go score like you did? I mean, how about Jacob Rodriguez? Give me that. I mean, just give it to me. Let me get on my horse, man. My cowboy hat's in the locker room. Otherwise, I'd wear it. But I'm taking your lunch money, and away I go with it. But
I don't know if he's kicking the horse hard enough. By the way, he's getting a little tight there near the goal line.
Well, I just was hope he wasn't going to come up like with some sort of limp because he's managing his wheels right now, and he's just is playing at such a high level. I mean, like it was like 4 or 5 minutes into the game, he already had like 5 tackles. He's just everywhere and
every play. And I'm thinking the same thing, man. When he's giving it all she's got, and I'm like, oh, don't pull anything. And I'm thinking the same thing too on the bogus Oklahoma State interception. I don't know if you remember this play, but they were going to go ahead and try to run it all the way back. It was not going to be an interception, and I'm just yelling, nobody chase him, nobody go after. Let this moron run 80 yards. We'll chase him down to the 1, make a tackle, and get a turf toe or something. Nobody. We are so conditioned, Chris, to be a little nervous in these parts. But
I know I hate being like I hate being fragile emotionally. But this is where we're at.
It's a fine line, man.
Because to quote somebody, have some mother bleeping confidence. But anyway, I struggle. It's like the each guy on the shoulder, one going, "Don't you remember all the bad things?" And then the other guy's like wanting to stick his chest out and be like, act like the pro wrestler with a microphone in the middle of a ring, telling everybody that where you're at, and like being that guy. So
hey, let me with this chest sticking out kind of question to you then, because this blew me away when I got this. First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered, and it's quick, easy, and secure every time. Ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. This blew me away when I got this on the patio post-game report last night. Actually, it was been texting with the mobster about it over the weekend. Jacob Rodriguez Heisman campaign off and running. What would it take for a defensive player to really be in that kind of consideration, you think?
Yeah, Joey was pushing that or kind of asking aloud about it. It would require you to – it would certainly require you to win out. And he'd have to have – like in one of these next 2 weeks, he may have to have, more scores or more – but it's just he may be up for some different awards. But that one as a defensive guy is just – that's because he's the other guys that have flirted with that. They've also been I'm a receiver and a returner. It just typically goes to the quarterback, man. That's just kind of what, and maybe the running back. I mean, that's where you're at.
Am I crazy? Was Ndamukong Suh a shortlist guy, or was he a win? He wasn't a winner, was he?
He wasn't a winner, but he was and he was dominant. So, but you just your team's going to have to help you out there with the results, and you've got to have some moments and production along the way. There's awards for him to go win though, if it's not the Heisman. But I just think Joey was trying to shine a light on this kid's special. He's impacting games and not just with creating takeaways, but actually scoring points, and he's hurdling people and all the things. And number 10, we certainly need it in Manhattan, Kansas, my friend.
No question. And to think he could be a second-string quarterback on some roster in Virginia somewhere. Good. What a great decision he made.
I know. Yes. Yes. I mean, and it's crazy. I know we've told this before, but it's just crazy that he was like sleeping on the floor in an apartment when he first got here because they didn't have a scholarship, and he was just kind of trying to make it go. And Joey's like, I would love to have him. I mean, I can't get him a scholarship until whatever. And you just think back to like, dude, if you knew what you knew, like how many people you kicking off the team to open up some scholarships at that point? But you didn't know what you didn't know. Right. But yeah, that is, this story's got a happy ending for sure. Cause regardless of whatever happens going forward, he has been, I mean, you mentioned Heisman. I'm going to give him a bigger compliment. I think I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but I know I was asked by somebody at some point a month ago. He better than Zach Thomas? And at first, when I heard the question, I'm like, man, don't be stupid. What are you asking me?
Preposterous. Yep, I remember.
And yet, I mean, yeah, is he better? Maybe. I mean, which is in our world, that is like holy grail type stuff. And yet when you look at what he's doing and what the team is doing and on the stage that they're doing it on, I mean, and granted, that's an NFL Hall of Famer. But he's playing it like the college version of what Zach did. That's what he's doing. And he's doing it certainly as good as, and I don't know if it's, I watched Zach when I was in my college days. That's whenever I was at going to classes in the mid-90s there. And That's not a preposterous question at all, which I think is a better compliment to him around here than mentioning him as a Heisman candidate personally.
Yeah, and I don't care if he's better or not worthy of being mentioned in the same category. He certainly is that, and that's plenty. I mean, that would be enough, I think, as far as being in a direction towards possibly, I don't know, a name on a wall somewhere someday in the future. But what I like is, Chris, with the biggest game still to come, biggest moments still to come, his biggest plays are probably still yet to come, if you can imagine such a thing, because you know that he's going to rise to those occasions, which hopefully, if you're successful this week, only continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Chris, appreciate the time as always, man. Enjoyed it. And we'll have some thoughts from Coach McGuire and company to process on the next episode as he visits with the media to kick off the week. So looking forward to that and a whole lot more. We'll see you for the next one.
Giddy up, folks. Here we go. It is all upon us now. So no hiding from it. Embrace it. Have some confidence. And we'll get after it. I'm going to try to fight that guy reminding me about all this bad history, because all these guys you brought in, they don't know anything about that. And so I'm going to listen to the other guy all week on this shoulder over here. So anyway, there we go. All right, man. Enjoyed it. Appreciate the time. We'll talk to everybody next time.
Let's go wild. Fly high with the confidence while you can. All right. And get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Appreciate the everydayers for always riding along. Thank you to the Matador Mob as well. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. And you can find a link to a free 14-day trial in our show notes right now. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.